After being delayed for multiple weeks due to a probation period where the film would have to be screened very carefully to see if it can release in multiple countries overseas, most of the Middle East has said no. And on top of other things in the world, things are looking rather concerning for the film, as it's literally come to a crawl. Okay, so let's be real. Thor was never going to get a successful release in countries that don't accept LGBTQ plus representation. We just knew this. When it was announced it would be delayed 2 weeks here, 3 weeks here, a week and a half here or there. Again, places like Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, for example, the writing was on the wall. It was never going to release in those countries no matter what. Why they decided to give it this probation period, I don't know. They obviously knew that they weren't going to have the film out there just from the sheer fact that Disney and Marvel said, we're not going to cut any of these scenes out. The controversial scenes, if you will. So, again, it's not a surprise. The bigger picture here is due to multiple countries which typically bring in, 10, 20, 30 million. Now that it's not releasing there, the film is going to suffer. It's literally come to a crawl on a weekend by weekend basis when you consider, all the territories, because again, it can't release in multiple countries because of war or feuds. It can't release in specific countries because of censorship. And Marvel Studios is kind of backed up into a wall. And look, it's not all bad, but at the same time, the thing here is, this is one of the top 5 most expensive films in the MCU. So this thing is looking like the profit margins are going to be very low to non-existent possibly, and I think that is concerning. But in regards to this bigger box office and banning in more countries, I think honestly Disney knew that this was going to happen and they just kind of expected it. And certainly I don't think they expected a mixed reaction the way it's been. And if you look at some of the polls asking people in regards to repeat viewings, this film doesn't have as many. It's up there in terms of repeat viewings. When the question was put out and the polls were put out on exit polls from people seeing it on a second and third weekend, it's up there with Eternals. So there is something here where fans, the big fans, the MCU fans like myself, for example, aren't returning for multiple viewings, and that's clearly affected everything. So I wonder how Disney's going to respond to this, whether they're going to try to string this along for a longer sort of release, or if they're going to do something special. But I think honestly this film is kind of behind us already. Not many people are talking about it, and the one factor you look for Marvel films in terms of how important are they and how much impact have they made is memes. And this film hasn't spawned many. So it's going to be interesting to see how Disney responds to this, because the box office is not looking good.